Today we're gonna be talking about Total Recall by the Arnold, the Terminator, the killer of the Predator. Just kidding. Today we're gonna be talking about your next 5 moves by Patrick Bet-David. If you are a fan of Valuetainment or Patrick Bet-David, BTD, you definitely have to check out your next 5 moves. We're gonna be giving a summary of it, and we're actually gonna be mentioning Arnold Schwarzenegger today because he is the perfect case study of how he applied your next 5 moves to become the success that he is today. There are so many things I can't control, but the things that I can.
The Dick Polipnick Show.
Come with me if you want to live. Just kidding. So, Arnold, how does he apply to Patrick Bet-David's your next 5 moves? So your next 5 moves is definitely focused around a chess theme. He uses chess masters as an example that in life, in business, you have to think like a chess master. What's the difference between a master and an amateur chess player or a beginner like Scott? The difference is that masters are able to think 15 moves ahead. If you've ever seen Patrick's keynote, we'll put a little clip here. He's got a keynote presentation that he calls your next 15 moves. But that's impractical for most people. That's impractical for most people. He's doing gymnastics. He's trying to jump around here. That's impractical for most human beings because they don't know where they're going the next 15 moves, let alone the next 5 moves. So you really have to dial it back and say, what's the next realistic approach for me? Once you really, unless you're born with the passion and you know what you're gonna do, like you're Elon Musk and you say, I'm going to Mars, and you've known that since age 12. Most people don't know that and they don't know what their 15th move is. So you start out with your first 5 moves and then you reverse engineer from there. So your next 5 moves. Patrick, in this book, here's the summary. I'm going to tell you right now because I've got the book right here. And by the way, love it. He actually is the author, or he's the reader on Audible. So definitely check out his audio book. I only buy physical copies of the Audible books that I really like because I want to thumb through them and maybe reread them more often than I would other books. So here's the table of contents. I'm literally going to read you what the 5 moves, what your next 5 moves are that Patrick Bet-David recommends in his book. So move 1. Master knowing yourself. Of course, you can't have a plan for your next 15 moves, let alone your next 5, let alone your business, your family, your finances, your future. If you don't know yourself, if you don't know who you are and what you want, how are you gonna plan anything, right? Do you wanna be the next Olympic athlete? Do you wanna be the next governor of California? Do you wanna be an actor? What do you wanna be? You wanna be a business mogul. You need to know who you are and what your values are and what your dreams are and able to plan anything. Otherwise, you're gonna go into something blind and you're gonna be 50 years old and look back at your life and say, I spent my entire career doing nothing, doing things that I hated. I didn't enjoy my life. So that's super important. You wanna live with what Jeff Bezos calls a regret minimization framework, right? So move 1, master knowing yourself. Move 2, master the ability to reason. You need to think logically. You need to increase your IQ in the sense that you need to know you're gonna be presented with options. Of course, if you're starting from scratch, you've got infinity. You've got the world at your fingertips. You need to dial it back and say, which of these routes, which of these forks in the road should I take? And be able to discern which one is the right one, which is the right move to go next. Move 3, master building the right team. It's gonna be impossible to get where you wanna go by yourself, right? Even Arnold, who started out as a bodybuilder, he had friends that taught him, he had mentors that taught him. Yeah, he was the one lifting the weights, going to the competitions when he was Mr. Universe 6 times, which is unprecedented. But how did he do that? He had workout buddies, he had friends and friendly competitors that encouraged him to do better, to perform better, to compete, right? He had mentors that went to the beach with him in Austria when he was growing up and lifted weights and taught him how to build muscle and build physique, right? So you have to build your team, not necessarily employees. It doesn't have to be that. It can be friends, family, influencers, mentors, networks, advisors, YouTube channels, Valuetainment, Dick Polipnick,
The Dick Polipnick
You want to
Show.
build your team. That's move number 3. Move number 4, master strategy to scale. Of course, you need to know how to, I think I've got a book somewhere in here. Here it is, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. You need to go from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, to 5, to 10, to a million, right? So you need to know how to scale and how to do it. Otherwise, so many businesses never make it past 100,000 in revenue. A lot more business, or a lot There's another big bottleneck is a lot of companies have a hard time making it past $1 million, right? Whether it's an individual as an earner, or you're a salesperson, you're getting commission, or you're a company trying to grow your revenue. You need to know how to scale and how to grow. And of course, that's like one of the main themes of the channel. I mean, my company name outside of the YouTube is Online Growth System. So growth is very important. And last but not least, move number 5, master power plays. What's super interesting, if you are a fan of Patrick Bet-David, or you've read any of his stuff or listened to any of his interviews, he actually recommends interviewing gangsters because they know how to do power plays. So I already mentioned the 5 moves that he mentioned in the book. That's the summary of like, those are the 5 skills you need to master to understand where you want to go. Then what you do next is you start out where you want to be at the end of your lifetime and you reverse engineer. If you want to be president of the United States, be the CEO of Disney or own a bunch of hotels and resorts and casinos, right? And be really successful at business or influence, have a big YouTube channel like Patrick Bet-David or Dick Polipnick, subscribe. And that way you can say, okay, after you're president, okay, what's up to there? Okay, maybe you want to run for governor, you're a senator or something like that. You want to grow up that ladder, reverse engineer further. Okay, build an audience. You start YouTube, you do podcasts, reverse engineer. You're CEO of a company, reverse engineer. You're the vice president, reverse engineer. Eventually, you're picking what college you're going to and what's your major. And I dropped out of college. I went to 1 semester, so you can take that with a grain of salt. But if you really, depending on how old you are and where you are in life, you can reverse engineer it to the day that you are now. If you're 40 and you want to make a career change, where do you want to go, right? So reverse engineer, plan your next 5 moves, understand what he recommends are your first 5 moves so you can understand where your next 15 are if you're thinking like the grand chess master. So that is the summary of your next 5 moves. Definitely recommend this read. Pat, if you're watching this, I'm looking forward to having you on the show. Pat's going to be coming up here on a future episode. So definitely read his book. Definitely check it out. We're going to put a link in the description below where you can read the show notes of this, where you can get more in depth, or you can buy the book on Amazon. And definitely another shout out to Arnold, Total Recall, amazing biography. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
I come from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and
This
they work
week
in a job
on
and
the
they
Dick
don't even
Polipnick
like
Show.
it.
Dun dun.
Put in a box. Nobody
What happened?
telling me what I should write. Nobody telling
Oh,
me
somebody
what
help me.
but I wanna just go, I don't stop. Recording till 4 in the morning, they snoring. I'm pouring my soul into every story I'm writing, producing. I mix it, I master, I'm building my craft.